Your Blues Game, Part 9. This is going to be a really important one for you. Please take my word for it. You're going to thank me in the long run. It's cherry blossom season in Japan, and that's why I'm wearing my cherry blossom strap here, and I got my cherry blossom sweater on, okay? So that's why. Anyways, so remember in Upping Your Blues Game, maybe it was Part 5, I talked about arpeggios that we can use over each dominant chord rather than just the blues scale. I said that A7 is going to be the 5 chord in the key of D, right? And in the key of D, we got 7 chords, and we can play a diatonic arpeggio off of each note in the chord. So for A7, which is an A, C sharp, E, and a G chord, notes in the chord, we can play it A7, that's from the A note. We can play it C sharp minor 7 flat 5, E minor 7, G major 7. These are all dynamite sounds in arpeggios for the A7 chord. And remember, I told you that we can approach it by a chromatic note below each of them. So today, I'm going to teach you another kind of arpeggio. Actually, it's the same 4 arpeggios, but they're called pivot arpeggios, okay? And instead of going like this, 1, 3, 5, 7, the 3, the 5, and 7 go below the root. So C sharp minor 7 flat 5. Gonna go right. Next we got E minor 7. G major 7. It's a little awkward, but next A7. We have room for one more A7. And we have room for one C sharp minor 7 flat 5. Right. So I suggest you get these under your fingers, and then we can do the same thing for D, right? D7, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, A minor 7, C major 7, and of course for E2. Now you could of course move the same thing up and around, and that's okay too, or you can stick to one position. They're both very useful. Okay, so to get this under your fingers, I'm starting off with something that's harder than this lesson really should be, maybe, but I wrote a little etude to help you get these under your fingers, okay? So I hope you'll try it and stick with it. And it's not that easy. It took me a little bit of time, so it should take you a little bit of time. So anyways, it goes like this. And we're going to play it over a blues, okay? It's going to go A7. Then for D, last one was A7, right? Next for the E, we're gonna, because it's an etude and I want it to be musical, I do a pickup arpeggio like we did in that lesson, you know, like this. That's E7. And then we're gonna play D major 7 because that's in that key of A major, right, which the E7 belongs to. We only have one measure, so we're going to switch right away back to D. A. 5 chord E7. So if I play it slow, it's like this. if you can do this, the rest of this lesson will be a breeze. So you can work on this or just skip over it and learn some of the licks. Okay, so here I go. So I mean, it's not that easy, but in the end, I showed you like how you could mix these in a little bit in your blues. Okay, so anyway, let's get on to some of the licks. Okay, so if you recall, we played a lick like this. Let's see what we got here. This is for A7, right? We go up the G major 7, the one on the 7th of the A7, approaching it by chromatic approach note. These are chord tones for A7, right? So we can also go up in arpeggio from this note. That's C sharp, right? Go up C sharp minor 7 flat 5. Right, so let's check these two out together before we get onto the pivot arpeggio. I forgot one thing I have to explain to you. In the original video, I used this as a pickup. So on the end of 3 and then a triplet, 1, 2, 3, and that's good. That's great. But in this case, I've moved it to the end of 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so anyways, what happens if we want to turn that C sharp note into a C sharp minor 7 pivot chord? Well, we're going to go like this. Okay, so all of a sudden we got it like a jazzy sound because these pivot arpeggios lend themselves well to jazz. Right, so that's a nice sound. Right now, look what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take the same exact thing up a G major 7, C sharp minor 7 flat 5 pivot arpeggio, and then ends on E, and that's fine. That's a fine place to end. That's the root of that A chord. But what if we want to play a pivot arpeggio there? It's one of the chords, right? Remember, A7, C sharp minor 7 flat 5, E minor 7, and G major 7. So we can play an A7 pivot arpeggio here. That's perfectly fine. It lands right on a G note, and that's a good note for A7. It's a seventh, right? So, and that's a seventh is a beautiful note to hold for an A7 chord. So let's check that out. And I just moved it up for D. That's all I did, right? I went for A, I went 1. For D, right? And I had to fix it for that E chord, so I ended it a little bit different, looking for some notes of that E7 chord. Okay, so there you go. Let's keep going here. So we went up the G major 7 chord, right? G major 7 arpeggio. This time we're going to go up the C sharp minor 7 arpeggio like this, and that E wants to go to A, right? So that's what we did. But I'm going to teach you another really important lesson. I don't want to get into really the nitty gritty here, because if you want the whole long extended story, you should just go to the Barry Harris workout, Barry Harris chromatic scale workout lessons, and that explains the whole thing. I don't want to get into that, or else we'll be here for 7 hours. So look, but there's a rule you should know for using chromaticism. If we go up here, we're going to end up on 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's going to be a downbeat, and we're heading to A. So since it's a downbeat and this is going to be a downbeat, we can put a chromatic note in between, right? And then the next note in the scale, remember, because we're thinking D major scale, will be this note, and we can put a chromatic note between the A and this G note too. Now we're on G. We can use G major 7 pivot chord, E minor 7 pivot, right? All right, so let's try that. So next up, we're going to go up A7, okay? And I want this F sharp note to be on a downbeat, so I have to put that A note in there, and that's why I do that. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go chromatically down to E from, and from that E, I'm going to do a E minor pivot arpeggio. what we got here, look, we're using 3 pivots. E minor, C sharp minor 7 flat 5, A7. Right, so let's see how that sounds. This is a lot of pivots, 3 in a row, okay? So I think it's going to be good. Okay, so in this next one, we're going up E minor 7. We're going to pivot on G major 7. That's G, right? We're going to end on an E. And so funny thing about this is that when we use it on the second A, right, in measure, what would it be? 4, 5, 6, in bar 7 and 8, it's going to land on the E note, which is the 5 chord already. So that's kind of smart. So let's try that. Okay, so this last one is kind of a nice one. Going up G major 7 again. C sharp, right? We're going to play a C sharp minor 7 flat 5 pivot arpeggio there. Which brings us nicely to A. Instead of sticking on the A, I like this flat 7 of the chord, so we're going to go. Right? I think that's a dynamite sound. Let's check that out. Okay, so that was a lot of work, right? I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time, but you have fun by experimenting and making up your own licks using these arpeggios, okay, and the chromaticism. Now, remember, I've started almost all of these on the end of 1, but the pickups are fine too. You could easily go 1, 2, 3, 4, ba-da-ba-da-ba, it's fine. But you have to re-navigate how they land, okay? So, but that's sort of part of the fun. All right, so anyways, again, this on its own is way too much. So you have to mix it up with some sort of standardized blues ideas, right? And let's see if I can do that. Right, so this wasn't really easy, but you know, it takes a lot of work, and I believe in you, and I think you can do it. But the secret is that I'm not really teaching you blues; I'm teaching you jazz. Okay, And you'll find that a lot of these ideas translate perfectly fine for good old-fashioned bebop music. All right, so that's why it's important to work on. So wherever you are, I hope that you have the cherry blossoms and you get to check them out. If not, come to Japan and you can come and get a lesson with me too, and I'll be happy to show you around. We can find the cherry blossoms ourselves and have a little party. All right, so I'll see you again. Have a nice day.